Hey there guys, it's Steven here, and Jarrod just did a video just talking about his top 10 favorite Wii games of all time, and I thought I'd do the same since I really like doing these kinds of top 10 lists, and I'm gonna start right away. I hope you enjoyed. And my number 10 game is Batman the Brave and the Bold. I'm not really a fan of the cartoon. I've heard lots of good things about it. I just never had the chance to check it out. I actually saw this for the first time at the only E3 I've ever been, which was I think in 2010. And this was a game from way forward. And if you've seen a few of my videos, you know that I'm really a big fan of these guys. They did Alien Infestation. They also did Contra 4. So I knew I had to try this out. It's actually a pretty good platformer. You can play with a friend, so it's co-op. My only grudge against this game is that they don't support the Wii Pro controller. So you have to actually play with the nunchuck and the Wiimote, and it doesn't really bode well for a 2D game. But besides that, it's a pretty awesome game, and I recommend it. At number 9, we have WarioWare Smooth Moves. I had a blast with this. They actually incorporated the motion controls pretty well. In my opinion, my favorite is still the GameCube one, but this was a really nice addition. Had a blast with this one. And at number 8, I have Mario Strikers Supercharged. An awesome multiplayer game if you like to just wacky arcade style sports game. This one is pretty awesome. Even better than the GameCube one. I didn't really enjoy the motion controls in this one. They're pretty. They're not a big part of the game though. It's just when you do that super move, and when you play as the goalie, you have to point and try to block the soccer. So they kept it to a minimum. It's a pretty good game, the nice visuals, and there's some cool power-ups in it. And if you've never tried the Mario Strikers series before, it's a pretty good starter title with. It's pretty good, and I really recommend it. At number 7, we have Zelda Twilight Princess for the Wii. I'll admit right away, I wasn't a big fan of the motion controls, and actually took me 5 or 6 years to complete this one. I bought a Wii at launch, one of the only, I think the only system I ever actually bought at launch, just because I wanted to play this, and it came out on the GameCube, I think at the time 2 weeks after that, and I didn't want to wait. And I played a lot. At first I really enjoyed it, but for some reason I stopped playing, and only went back to it 5 or 6 years after it, and finally completed it. And it's a pretty good title. It's a Zelda game, so you know you can't go wrong with it. But I just wasn't a fan of the motion. Like you had to swing your controller for really no reason. Just to they did this just to have a big launch title on the Wii. And it's still, though, I have to give it justice. It's still a pretty awesome title. It's just one of the weaker 3D Zeldas. And next, I have a title which unfortunately I never actually finished. I'm ashamed of it, but what can you do? It's Super Mario Galaxy 2. I had a blast, and I mean a blast with this when it came out. I played it non-stop for a few days, and for some reason this is just one of those games that I just put aside for a while and played something else. I don't know what was at the time. And then never sadly came back to it. I tried to a few months ago, but just playing a level without remembering any of the moves, I couldn't even get past it. So I probably will one day, but this is a title I'll have to start from the beginning. But from what I've played of it, and I still played a lot, it's pretty fun and really highly addictive. Alright, next up is New Super Mario Bros. Wii. A pretty solid platformer, in my opinion, the hardest one in the series, simply for the fact that you don't actually have a power-up with you at any time. When you get hit, in the DS game, in the 3DS game, the power up that you have on top of the screen will simply fall down and that'll help you. But in this case, you don't have any spare power ups, so that, in my opinion, makes it a lot harder than the other ones. I also had a lot of troubles finding all the secret star coins and all the secret exits and stuff like that. It's a really fun game. The only problem is, like Jared mentioned, that they forced the wacky controls where you have to shake your remote just to do a spin, which is basically the same move that we've had since Super Mario World, which was done in the press of a button. And they did this to warrant the motion controls, which was in my opinion, a letdown. But besides that, this is still a pretty awesome game. Alright, moving on. It's another Mario title. This is a pretty interesting story. A friend and I actually rented this from Blockbuster a few years ago, and we beat it in a whole night. And I mean a whole night. We started from like maybe 7 o'clock and we ended up at 6 in the morning. And thanks to a lot of rye and coke, we didn't even notice that we were pretty sore. But we woke up in the morning and our arms were sore. We were like, it's like we worked out all night. And the reason for that is that we were playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and this is awesome, an awesome game. I've tried the other sequels, and sadly they kind of went in another direction that in my opinion wasn't the smartest move, but this one, the original, is fantastic. It's one of the greatest party games I've ever played, and seriously, try this out with a friend if you've never played it, and you'll have a blast. The motion controls here are pretty fantastic, especially the bow game, the bow and arrow game. And this was actually, I think, the first collaboration between Mario and Sonic, and it's done pretty good, so I highly recommend this, and I think this was my number 4. And number 3, I have Dragon Quest Swords. The subtitle is The Masked Queen and Tower of Mirrors. This surprised the heck out of me. I thought this was just gonna be a quick cash-in, but it's actually a fantastic first-person RPG. The way it plays, it plays like a kind of like Panzer Dragoon or Sin and Punishment rather. Sorry, as in it's an on rails game. But what you do is actually enemies appear and you either slash your sword on the screen vertical or horizontal or a Z kind of way, and there are attacks which you block with the nunchuck. And it's as simple as that, but it requires a lot more strategy than that. And what I really like is the RPG elements incorporated into this title. And what I mean by that is that you actually level up, and yeah, you need to replay levels over and over again if you want to face the tougher enemies. And like any Dragon Quest titles, there's post-game content like actual bosses and stuff like that that you have to complete after that, which are actually quite challenging. So for reasons I mentioned, this is actually a pretty fun game and a fantastic Dragon Quest game. And my second top Wii game of all time is Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. This is actually my favorite Fire Emblem of the entire series for one simple reason. It has the best storyline yet. This is a direct sequel to the GameCube Path of Radiance, and I simply cannot recommend it enough. This is a game that actually Jarrod bought for me on a trip to Montreal, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of the best Fire Emblems out there. Like I said, it's my favorite one, and I can't recommend it. This one actually introduced a mid save point, so it made it a bit easier for newcomers. And like I said, the story is just incredible, so really recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description to my review. I did a review of this years ago, and go ahead and read it out if you want more info on this game. And for my number 1 title, which will surprise no one, it's The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Like I said in many videos before, this one surprised me. It actually justified the Wii's motion controls. It's my favorite 3D Zelda game. just because of the storyline, and the motion controls are actually perfect for an adventure game of this magnitude. So there you go, guys. These are my top 10 Wii games, and I hope you enjoyed the video.